What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're finally back in the studio, and we got a very, very special guest today for Season 2, Episode 5. We got my boy Ryan Hensley here. What's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
Welcome to the show.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here, man. It's been a fun journey watching you do this whole process and finally get to be invited to be on it.
Yeah, we've been working on that for a little while. I had to get all your stuff in line, and Biz got the fancy little ads for you because Ryan's our first sponsor, like official sponsor / advertiser of the show. Yep.
First one?
First one.
You broke our cherry.
You broke the cherry, man. Okay. It's all uphill from here now.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to run the logo ad because it wouldn't let me play music. So when you guys get into talking about SECUR, while you're talking, I'll run the promo over your conversation.
Sure,
That's
sure.
fine.
Okay.
Feel free whenever you feel appropriate to throw it out there.
He lets me just do
want to
my
give
own
him
thing.
lots of little coverage here on the show. So Ryan is one of the people I've met through the lounge, as you guys have all heard me talk about the different people that I've met up here and become very good friends with. Ryan's an interesting character. You guys we're going to break down some Ryan today. Yeah, I mean, it's real possible that if any of y'all ran into us in the past in our early 20s or something, we were probably in the same room and just didn't know it based off all the conversations we've had.
Same bar, same
bar, same club, same show.
Same live show from some local Dallas band and Deep Ellum. Yeah, I mean, we were guaranteed to be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely happened, and we, I guess, actually had a little, reminisce through Photo Lane today of stuff like joking about getting back on our MySpaces to really see if we're in the background of each other's photos or something. So, yeah, so Ryan is involved with two companies that we're going to kind of get into today once we get past letting you all know a little bit about Ryan. But Ryan is a partner in SECUR.
Yes.
And he is also involved in a partner in a remodeling company called Calibre Remodeling. So that's where Ryan and I have a lot in common, the construction industry. So we'll dive into that quite a bit, probably more so than probably anything else. So if you guys have questions you want either of us to answer from those backgrounds, feel free to post them up in the comments and we'll try to get to all your questions. But Ryan comes from the residential side / custom home builder, has a vast experience in that, whereas I come more from an insurance side and a multi-family remodeling side.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from, etc.
So, born in Dallas, raised in Dallas.
Plano snob with my wife.
Plano snob with your wife, absolutely. We went down the rabbit hole, too, a couple times. Her and I talking about, where were you at this time? Oh, we had to have these same friends. We went to these same house parties.
Yeah, and then you guys become friends on Facebook, and it's like, holy shit, we have 80 people in common.
In common, exactly. It's such a small freaking world out there with Facebook. But yeah, just grew up as our friend Ty likes to say, Silver Spoon, West Plano kid.
Yeah.
Private school kid. Yeah. All that shit. I grew up in the construction business. So my pop started construction. He was a master electrician, master plumber, master framer, master builder. And in 85. So
highest level of Mason, probably.
Yeah, 33rd degree. Yeah, that whole thing. Yeah, a little Illuminati shit going on. And he, when I was 5, started building homes in North Dallas, custom homes in North Dallas. So there's pictures of me at 4 years old, down in trenches while he's running underground plumbing for the slab.
Right.
So I've been in the business for so long. And then finally, it was an interesting conversation. So I went straight out of high school right into corporate, and then decided, I was really big I came from the audio background with car audio and home audio.
Yep.
And wanted to start an AV company. So I started a company and was doing home theater installs and things of that nature, whole house audio, what you could do back then. And I was doing, the one-offs, right? Like what you wanted something done in your home. Or and I hadn't got to where I was working for a builder yet doing all his homes. So of course, hit Dad up and I was like, hey, let me do your homes. And he's like, give me some good pricing. Like he wasn't like, just because you're my son, you get to have the business.
Right.
So, worked on it, started working on homes, doing that stuff. And then finally, I think it was probably mid 05. Dad looks at me and he goes, hey, you finally reached that age where you now know that you don't freaking know everything. Like you're not a little shit anymore.
Yeah,
and
you graduated a little bit here.
Yeah, graduated a little bit. And he's like, hey, do you want to come work with me and run the company together? And I was like, okay. I was like, that sounds like a lot of fun. So he goes, let's start in December of 05. And I said, wait a minute, that's about the same time we're going to start the Parade of Homes house. And he goes, no, it was 06. Shit, I can't remember. I think it was 06.
Okay.
And yeah, it was 06. And he goes, yeah, it's the Parade of Homes house. And I said, okay. He goes, you're going to start the day we pour the slab, and I can't be there, so have fun.
Straight thrown to the wolves.
I mean, just straight thrown right into it.
Here's your project manager hat. Have fun, buddy.
Have fun on a $1.8 million Parade of Homes spec house that I built. It was 6,400 square feet, decked out, and I had it finished. We poured the slab on December 6th, and I had it finished by May 22nd. Fully decked out, pool, landscaping, I mean, just everything.
Wow, that's a tight timeline for a house
amazing.
like that in your first one.
Yeah. So that was my introduction and learning process to home building was that trial by fire. And then
your first project management went way smoother and better than mine did.
well, shit. Some of the background information that I learned because
growing up in it.
Yeah, growing up in it, knowing enough not to. I mean, I wasn't like super green.
Right.
I grew up in it and I was around it for so long, and then also around it during construction doing the AV stuff. But the good thing was, I'd say my biggest thing was I had Dad teaching me, and then during the Parade of Homes, Frisco actually gave us 2 inspectors that their only job was to come there every day. So I had two head inspectors for the city of Frisco there with me every single day.
A lot of pressure, but probably helped a lot too, because they were holding you to the book.
Yes.
Which also taught you the book.
Taught me the
parts that you didn't know.
Yeah.
Whereas like when I started out, I came from insurance where everything's covered to more of the remodeling side on apartments where it's like, hey, we're just doing what has to be done.
Right, the bare minimum.
Like just what needs to be done to pass this lender requirement, this city inspection. So that was way different. And I remember the first time they made me run my own job, this guy couldn't find we were doing a bunch of landings. These landings had been designed bad, like entry landings with a switchback, and they'd been designed bad. So we were fully rebuilding these things. Well, this guy I hired, which was a new company we were trying out, which is probably another benefit you had, is you had Dad's probably best guys and crews underneath you.
I had established traits.
Yeah. Whereas I had a new guy we were trying out on a new client, and my first time running a job because we were short-staffed, and it was like, hey, I'm just supposed to be estimating and selling.
Right.
Where did I say project manager? And they're like, well, it's your job. Do you want to run it or not? Like, it's either you're going to run it or not. And these idiots couldn't find T-bar flashing. So you know what? I showed up on a weekend to start doing some spot checks and check on these guys. They were welding their own T-bar flashing out of angle iron.
For the rest of the world that don't know what the F T-bar flashing is.
Yeah, so T-bar flashing is the fancy little piece of metal that's on the front of your balcony if you live in like an apartment. It's what locks in the moisture membrane and the concrete because it has like a little cap on the top of it, and the concrete, when it fills up, goes behind it and flush with it. So it locks it in. That's where when that starts pulling away, people get leaks along their balconies and patios.
And it gets weak and they fall over and they sue somebody for a bunch of money.
Something like that. Yeah, usually it takes a long time for it to get that bad. But these guys took straight up heavy gauge metal, like 6-inch strips, and were welding that together. Well, the first problem with that is There's no lip for the concrete.
There's no lip.
And they're welding these up against the building, and they literally almost caught a building on fire. And I'm out there on a Saturday, like losing my mind, calling everybody I can, like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, these guys are doing the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and I'm telling them they can't do it. And they're like, well, this is the only thing we can do. And like, yeah, so like I said, that was a horrible first experience. I literally told them, if you ever make me project manage again, I will quit. Like, I do not want to babysit grown men. I'm past this project management thing. Like, I want to estimate it and sell it. After that, I'll check on it, make sure, but this is why we have project managers, and I clearly do not have the patience or tolerance to be a project manager.
And that is probably, like, you couldn't have hit the nail on the head in regards to the world of project management. It is babysitting.
It's babysitting grown men.
Yeah, and if anybody out there is listening who's in the construction world, you will know what we're speaking about, because, like, so as a custom home builder, I've told this to so many new clients before. I said, look, back when I was a PM, and we'll get to why I'm not now, but when I was running the company with Dad, he handled clients, closing, and contracts, right?
Yeah.
The money side, the back end stuff, right? And as soon as the actual project started, that's when I came on board, met the client, and then I handled it from there, right? But as I'm interacting with these clients, especially a few years into it, they're like, what do you love or what do you hate about building? As we're just building a rapport.
Right.
And I said, well, I love building because it's creating something from nothing, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Right. Take a freaking piece of dirt and turn it into someone's dream home. Because luxury custom building, which is what I did, or still do, is anywhere from $1.5 million to a $4 million house. I'm not in our buddy Grady's world.
Yeah.
But still an amazing house. Now, that being said, I would tell them, you babysit grown-ass men, and you're a marriage counselor.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the nuts and bolts of my job.
I think the beauty of your side of it is, and it scares me, because like when I did my decorative concrete business, it was residential mainly.
Right.
I did some commercial, but not a lot.
Yeah. A lot of back patios.
Yeah,
and
back patios,
driveways.
pool decks, driveways, garage epoxy coatings and stuff when that was first coming out. Acid staining and stuff like that. I specialize in micro thin overlays.
Yeah, which is great.
So that when you're remodeling a house and you don't know what that slab's condition is,
That slab's
you
shit.
can neutralize that slab
Yep.
and then give them as close to a true acid stain as you could possibly do.
'Cause at least you know the chemical background of the overlay.
And I got my lunch ate when I tried to just remodel and do an acid stain for the first time
On old school
without
concrete?
skim coating on old school. Like,
Yeah.
the markers and stuff that they wrote on the ground start showing up through your acid stain, and you're going,
And they use-
holy shit.
They
what is
use
that?
red chalk for the pop lines instead of blue, because the red will never fucking come off.
Yeah, exactly. So I ran into all those issues really, really fast. But in your world, when you say marriage counselor, I think that's funny, because I was like, I would love to see you come into my world in the multifamily game, because you get to play marriage counselor or transition their vision into what they think their vision is to what reality is, and and it's gotten only worse over the years because of HGTV.
Dude,
and they
House,
show
Pinterest,
an entire house done in an hour episode that was filmed over 3 months, that was just all these tidbits.
Yeah,
into that.
highlights.
And they're like,
It's a highlight
why
reel.
can't this be done already? Like, how is this taking so long? And like, we all know that's all gotten worse with COVID and manufacturing delays and the economy. But in your world, you got a husband and a wife typically,
It's a husband.
and maybe a designer.
there's
Probably a designer
a lot of
in
designers.
your realm.
Yeah, a lot of
Well,
designers.
with me, I have the property manager. We'll just stop at property manager, because sometimes you have assistant managers and everything else that are heavily involved. But property manager, a regional manager, a head of construction, just for the management company. Then you have the ownership group, which could be one person or a couple people, then a designer, and you're dealing with 5-6 people that are all coming and going in these bigger projects.
So in your world, do you have how many hens do you have in the hen house? Because Like
There's a lot sometimes.
Like you don't have just one point of contact that's the ultimate decision maker.
Sometimes, but a lot of other people have a very high pull or say in the project, you know, because they come and go throughout some of these projects where typically I deal with the head of construction, but he's reporting to a senior VP in the management company, a regional manager,
and he's getting all that
and
info.
the manager that's on the property dealing with the on-site stuff, and then the head lead maintenance on the property that they're dealing with the property and all this stuff. So it convolutes it a lot more. You have to wear a lot more hats in mind. That's why I said, like, the project manager alone has to deal with that on site, and I want no part of that.
You're like a therapist for parents and kids. Like it's a whole family.
Kind of, sort of, at times. Like you have to play a lot of different roles to make sure that the vision and that this is all being communicated across the board. And that's probably something that I didn't do as well for a long time. And just in the last few years, I've really learned that communicating that and making sure that even though you don't think you need the regional on there or the manager or something like that, the more I can involve them throughout with updates and stuff like that and not just rely on that head of construction, but you got to have the right communication still with that main point of contact so that they don't feel like you're going around them or that you're not letting them do their job.
You don't want to cut their egos out.
But to be able to be more inclusive, because then they stay more involved throughout the project versus just popping in here and there. And then they've missed the last 5 conversations or 5 issues that have been diverted or worked around, or we made this change because of XYZ. That's where the headaches really start coming in, as you know, like you've multiplied the amount of people that can really turn your world upside down by just not knowing one of those little updates or changes that have been made.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'd say that, I don't want that. That doesn't sound fun at all. But yeah, dealing with, when you brought in the word designer.
Yeah.
I've worked with quite a few over the years because we've got some, like, you know, I've had some designers that are vetted designers that are in my wheelhouse, right? That I would suggest to a homeowner and say, hey, interview these designers, see which one fits your personality type and that sees your vision.
Yeah.
And then there's other clients that bring their own designer in, right? Which is no big deal. They can spend their money on a designer either way, whether it's mine or theirs. But, man, you want to talk about throwing a wrench in the freaking, damn. Designers are like attorneys. They can F up a deal in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, because the thing that amazes me that a lot of even my clients, and a lot of them, their hands are tied. You know, maybe the owner is friends or this is their designer they've used for years. They don't have a working relationship with them. So keeping those communication points where they need to be is like the hardest thing, because these designers, what amazes me is they're able to just ballpark everything. They don't ever have to, like, I don't understand why they don't have to have like more cost knowledge.
So we're getting into
in my arena, they don't.
Same thing. So we're going to jump into
Yeah.
So keep going.
So
like
I don't understand how they don't have to do that, because it's like, if you give me a spec book and say I got to follow these specs, well, then I'm going to follow those specs and I'm going to bid it like that. But some of my competitors will be like, oh, well, I can substitute this for that. It's still the same. It's going to look the same. Well, did you get permission to do that? But, you know, that's kind of an undiscussed thing in my industry that needs to have more attention on it, because there's a lot of things you could substitute because these designers don't take into account. And maybe that's been one of my faults early on, is I've taken it so literally from my background that if this designer tells me we're using black mahogany,
then I'm
bidding black mahogany. And, you know, because I feel like that's what the owners expect. And if I don't do that, they're going to make me tear it out and put black mahogany in. But, you know, and that's probably a bad example because there's not a lot of substitutes for that. But, you know, there's a lot of
dark
like
walnut.
Tile.
Yeah, dark walnut or
But you know, like tile, these designers, you know, I dealt with one years ago that was from Canada, and half the stuff she spec'd was stuff that was readily available in Canada or Europe. And we waited months for this stuff to come in. I mean, I could find LKQ, which is like kind of quality for those that don't know. Like, It just means a product that is similar, that's going to function the same, look relatively the same. Most people wouldn't know the difference, and usually it's not a quality issue like you're selling them Nikes versus Reeboks. It's the same tile.
It's ceramic or porcelain.
It's made out of this factory versus this factory. You know, just like Hardy or, Hardy siding or something else. There's 10 different brands of that. But Hardy even has 5 different lines within theirs at least.
If you're North Texas, right?
Yeah.
Why is the designer picking shit out of Canada, which has...
Because that's where the owner is, and that's their designer. See, that's what I'm saying. You get all these different things when you have ownership and management of these portfolios of apartment complexes.
Yeah.
Way different than yours. Like, I think I'd way rather be in your shoes where it's just this owner and designer, and you can have more of those conversations easier. But that's one of the challenges of my job on my side is, being able to do that. So
the grass is always greener on the other side, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's always greener. So when you were talking about designers not understanding the world of cost. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a designer watching this, I'm not trying to bash y'all.
There are a lot of great designers, and there's just like any field or job.
Sure, 100%.
There's really good, there's bad, there's the in between, there's the full.
But there's also
spectrum.
there's also that designer, for example, where in my world, the designer or designers can be amazing at their work, right?
Yeah.
But there's one caveat that changes the whole game, and it's you're amazing at your design work, and it's the cost factor. So in my world, like, and I'll bring Grady into this again. We've had many conversations, Grady and I, about this particular subject matter. So someone comes to me and says, I want to build, $2.5 million house. Like, that's my budget, right? So I build a budget, and, generally, and we might get a little too deep for y'all here in construction talk, but, in my world, it's, depending on the contract that we do, we've got our hard costs and we've got allowances.
Right.
Okay? So let's say I give the homeowner an allowance of X for, let's call it hardware. Door hardware, bathroom hardware, cabinet hardware. Okay?
Yep.
Well, the designer has my allowance list and the homeowner's allowance list on what they can spend on their different subject matters, right? What gets a builder in hot water, this is the shit that would drive you nuts in my world. The designer doesn't pay attention to the dollar amount. She talks to the client, and the client says, well, I like this. Okay, fantastic. I like that. I like that you like that. I'm going to go show you some stuff that's in that wheelhouse of that house picture or Pinterest picture that you found, right?
Yeah.
So she goes and shows them something and puts together this whole hardware package that is way over the freaking budget.
Yeah.
And then the homeowner comes...
It doesn't mention that
while
they're talking about it.
Absolutely not. And the homeowner gets the total cost factor of that hardware, right, when it's all put together, and it's, let's call it 10 grand over budget, whatever the case may be. The homeowner comes to me and goes, well, Mr. Builder Man, why the hell didn't you make my budget bigger? And I go, I could have made your budget bigger on everything.
Yeah, but where do you want your budget to stop?
Where do you want it to stop? Because I can make your tile budget $80 a square foot, but you don't want to spend the money because we're way over your $2.5 million, right? That's where it got so tricky with designers. And it will burn a bridge with a builder in a half a second.
Yeah, I mean, and it happens in mine too. It's in my world, it happens the same way. Well, I like this, and this is the look they want. And maybe it's a tile or a wall covering. Or like, let's use wallpaper because that's popular now, and that's a real easy one. So it's like, here's $100 a roll, just cost.
Just a roll.
Just one roll.
No labor.
We're not figuring labor or waste, or that whole wall now has to be skim coated to a level 5.
Because it's a certain type of wallpaper.
They don't think about any of that stuff. They're like, well, before we could just throw this wallpaper up. Like, this was a cheaper grade. It didn't need level 5 skim coat behind it.
Thick enough to not worry about it.
They just go, we're not gonna care about this.
So a miracle has happened. Somebody actually knows what the hell y'all talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Wesley.
Yeah.
Because Wesley is commenting. He said there's never any money left by the time it gets to irrigation and landscape.
That's so true, Wesley.
True too, 'cause that's the first thing
Wesley, bless you.
Landscaping is the last thing done, and the budget is gone.
Yeah. Everybody thinks they can do their own irrigation.
Shit.
I'm just happy to hear
on
that
a weekend thinks he can do his own land.
my daughter just moved out of our theater room, so it's all the way empty now. And in order for no more of my family to move into my house, I'm going to need you, Ryan, to come over and start doing shit to help me get a theater thing.
No, before we let anybody else move into Biz's house, you need to build him a mother-in-law suite on the back of his house.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I do.
And then all problems are solved.
And your mama loves me.
Yes, my mom, when I say, I was with her today. We had Valentine's dinner today.
Okay.
I said, here you go, Mom. Here you go, Mom. She said, cool. How's Ryan? I was like, shit, I just bought you food and you asking about Ryan?
Yeah.
I meant to tell you that. So y'all literally need to have a date within the next 2 weeks, please.
I need to take her out to lunch. Yeah.
Please come get that woman.
Yeah.
Okay, back to talking about scrim, scruffits, and irrigation. Or whatever
back
else.
to the wallpaper. That it's like the designer will pick out $100, wallpaper, and that's what they start with. And then inevitably, the decision maker goes and looks, and they find something over the weekend, watching HGTV or playing around on Pinterest or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like this. Well, the designer just goes, okay, well, let's find what you like in there. But like to your point, they don't go back and say, okay, just so you know, what you were picking out before was $100 a square yard. What you're picking out now and what you're liking is $300 a square yard. And on top of that, you can't just do it without doing a level 5 finish. So that's going to probably triple your budget here. Is it that important to you that you want to go down that road? Or do you want to make some substitutions elsewhere? Do you want to talk about doing this? None of those conversations happen. And that's the biggest thing I have with these big office remodels. These designers come up with this idea, and the owners and everybody they get sold on it. Like they do these renderings.
Because
these
it looks
mock-ups.
beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Looks beautiful.
Yes.
But we don't, and they tell them, and this is the part where I always say I want to be on the other side of the fence and like hear these conversations, because they always say, well, we told them we had a $1.5 million budget for this, let's just say, throwing out a number. Well, they don't have it, and let's get to that. We think that this design will fall in that realm. So they don't even know till it gets sent out to like me and two or three others what is going to come out. And now it starts coming back, and you get bids that are going here, here, and here. Well, are we using LKQ? Is that cool at this point? Like, more of those conversations need to be had. That's something I've learned over my 15 years of doing this now, and I try to really engage in that with my clients now so that we can really talk about those things, because that's, to me, where these projects get so sideways of this owner has already had this vision of this is what I want. And they don't leave enough room for the things, especially you're dealing with new construction most of the time, except for your remodeling stuff. But I'm going into an apartment that was just bought.
You got to read.
That could be 10, 30, 40 years old. And we're going to start opening up walls and stuff to create this vision. There's lots of things you can't tell, and it never feels like the contingency there is enough for those.
So now you're talking
things.
about the X-ray vision contingency.
Yeah, X-ray vision. Yeah. We all need that.
So I tell every remodel homeowner, we've got a contingency plan in there based on the age of the house. I mean, some of these newer homes, I've got a lot of clients right now that they're moving into, let's call it a $700,000 house.
Right.
It's a brand new build from whatever builder, some production builder. And they're like, yeah, we bought this house, but we want to, literally one of my last three clients actually, they were in the house less than a month before they called me to change it, because they're like, yeah, we bought it because we had to, because of either job relocation, shortage of actual homes, or whatever the case may be, but they want it immediately changed. Well, these new builds, I know what the hell's in it, and I know where shit's ran, I know how it's constructed, all that crap, right? So it's a whole lot easier. But when you get in these older homes, that X-ray contingency,
gone.
You have to put it in there, because I'm going to open your walls up. I've got a remodel right now north of here, and it's a much older home that's been remodeled several times.
Right.
And now we're doing a addition remodel. And so now I'm figuring
going up or out?
Out.
Okay.
Out.
That's better.
But it's out and remodeling the main house, right? So we're the main house. We're remodeling it and adding out. Okay. Well, you get into this world of we have to tie everything in from one side to the other side back to the middle. And you're dealing with old school copper and stuff run. I mean, it's a shit show.
Yeah.
And it's been
not everything's pecs and easy.
And it's been remodeled so many times, man. I'm literally opening up the walls in the kitchen. You're going to love this. I'm opening up the walls in the kitchen from the previous remodel. So now we're down to original stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they're running 14.2 to a backsplash plug. And then it carries over to the next one. They pigtailed a 12.2 to come out of the box, so the inspector during the previous remodel would see 12.2, not the old school 14. I mean, it just crap like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the craziest one I saw, and everybody's by now seen this, but I legit saw this in an apartment complex where a guy used a Copenhagen can as a junction box versus going and getting a
half-inch thick
50-cent junction box. So it's like, it's all MacGyvered, like the MacGyver stuff you have know. So I'm curious, and if you don't want to say, it's fine too. What percentage type contingencies do you guys deal with when you're doing something custom on a custom remodel? I mean, because I know on our end, we usually stay in the 1% to 2% of whatever the job is, just to put it there so that we don't have to go back to the client and say, you know, if they, okay, now this piece of wood that wasn't that bad, but we fixed all the stuff around it, now it's bad. We can just take care of that and make them happy. What kind of contingency basis do you guys work on in your arena?
So I would say, okay, that's a very big variable question, right? So depends on the type.
On an older house, remodel, not something newer that you're coming into.
Yeah, older house remodel. It's based on what we're doing, right? If we're just doing a bathroom remodel,
I'm saying it's let's say
a gut.
Let's say this is a $500,000 remodel on an older house.
Oh, okay. So that's 5%.
Okay.
It's $25,000 contingency plan.
Okay.
For just, you're going to get in some rotted stuff. You're going to get in some water damage that you didn't know was there behind the walls, some old termite damage. You know, for example, one of the jobs I've got going right now, which is another older home remodel, you're going to love this. The subfloor is 2x10s. It's freaking 2x10s.
We just did a bid on an apartment that it needs it's pier and beam. It's really old. It's in the ghetto. These are like, I mean, like, essentially the building is going to need to be hoisted and lifted up
and reinforced
so that
completely.
All the 2x10s and the skirts and girders can completely be replaced.
Yeah.
Some of the piers replaced.
Biz, did you get
so
that?
You can
Skirts
do
and girders,
that.
dog.
Yeah, where's
skirts and girders?
I am literally over here monitoring the podcast and then looking at Lowe's for shit to be on sale. Like, I just want to DIY something so bad right now.
I love this because this is one of the few like where we're like speaking Japanese to him,
we're speaking Greek.
And his mind is just getting blown over there.
Yeah. I've the only thing I've built a few things, but I built a secondary tier for my old home theater, my home back in Nebraska,
to make it
I was so proud of to make it higher, like theater stadium seating.
Yeah,
I was so proud of that, and like I built some shelves and some other stuff. Now I'm listening to y'all, and it's like I ain't done nothing. Like, and I got a garage full of tools and got the cool tool rack and tool shelves with the ball bearing drawers, and
right.
I feel so incomplete right now.
Well, I'll make you feel a little better. So I probably belong more in your category on that. I can tell you, and you probably like could leap and bound me on this. This is where you
Ryan does. We haven't even talked about the other stuff he does.
I know, but like he's always said all these different trades and how his dad was a master in pretty much every essential trade. So I helped my dad do stuff when I was young. My dad was a decent carpenter at best. You know, tree houses, stuff like that. You know, we did little things like that, and he was more of a wood carver. I'm deathly afraid of electricity.
Okay.
I'm the guy that shuts off the breaker panel to change out a fan.
Sure.
Even though at one point I was in charge of like keeping a Lee lighting stocked with quorum parts and fixtures, I would
I've used
change
a lot of
all
that.
of them in and out.
I've used a lot of that brand.
That's probably more so why I'm so afraid, because when you're dealing with a showroom floor and how badly that stuff's wired,
Dude,
and I'm just hooking up a new thing and I get shocked, like I hate being shocked.
Sure.
But you probably could do physically more of these actual trade things than I can. Like I realized very early on, like I would rather pay somebody to do certain things, plumbing, electrical, HVAC.
Amen.
Now, if it is carpentry or something like that, or painting, I don't have a problem doing that, and I'm all about that.
I don't paint.
But
Nope.
See, I like painting. I'll paint a room in a minute.
Paint because I'm the guy, because I painted cars in high school. I will tape off. I'll spend an entire day taping off a bathroom.
Hey, prep work is way more important than the actual painting.
And then the next day I'll
It
come
is.
in and I'll paint everything in an hour, and then it'll take me another hour to tear everything that I prepped down, but it's done. But like I am too OCD and anal to, like, if you maybe paint something broader than that or a bigger room,
Yeah.
man, you're talking a lot of time because I would
Well-
do that. But I can tell you what it takes to do something. I know how to break it down. I know how to put it back together.
Yep.
I know how to put that into a bid.
Yep.
But physically doing that work, and you handed me a laser and a guide and a level and all this stuff, like I would be so lost. Like I am not that dude.
You're
Like,
giving me a lot more credit than
couldn't actually do that.
Yeah, you're giving me a lot
But
more
I'm just
credit.
saying, I think you could do probably more of those things than I could, because you grew up in a house where they did those
I
things.
did, yeah. And here's the weird part. When you say that, and like my ex-wife would probably yell at me for this. At my own personal house,
The last one?
yeah, the last one.
Okay. I know this one quite well. I
You know-
want to see what you're going to say.
So it's weird. The shoemaker, his kids have holes in the shoes. Okay, does that make sense?
Okay.
The shoemaker, his kids have holes in their shoes. Okay? The builder doesn't touch his own damn house because
Yeah.
it's work. You do it for a freaking living, right?
Yeah.
So you come home and there might be something that needs to be done, and I'm like, fool, get over here, handle this shit. You know?
You know what?
Call one of my trades.
It's facts, because what do I do for a living? I take photography of people, whatever. I have not one picture in my house of my children. My kids have damn near grown up, and I ain't took one. If it's not on my phone, I haven't sat them down to take any. I got one picture of my wife
Biz.
that's studio quality, because I needed somebody to test the light and it looked good, so
Yeah.
we made it. But I don't have any pictures of my family.
I'm gonna help you out here right now. It's Valentine's Day. I mean, and like I got shit from the guys in here. Oh, you're having Ryan on your podcast on Valentine's Day. What are you two having your date podcast?
Yeah, we are.
Sorry, my wife does not do the Hallmark holidays.
Which is great.
We don't do that crap. Like,
Nope.
there's, in her world,
Every day
and
is
my world,
Valentine's Day.
There's
Thank
a
you.
lot of other days that you could buy your wife or significant other something to show your love and appreciation. It
Facts.
should not be a set day, because it's expected, and like that's just so dumb. But I don't even want to like go off on a tangent on that.
Can
but
I go?
Biz,
Can I-
yeah, I'll give you 1 second. You go on it. But Biz, I'm gonna help you out here, bro.
Go ahead.
Your Valentine's Day gift to your wife should be, I'm going to do a family photo thing on your next like day off, and like do something with them and put it all out there. Get your mom and capture that moment next time the family's on town, and set it up and just do one for your family. Something fun.
Well, they're all here. I moved them all here now. So
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
you've got them all
yeah,
here
yeah.
pretty much, but I'm saying like do that.
Hey,
Like,
you know what? That's smart.
I mean, because I get made fun of about the pictures that are on my social media since I do the podcast. I'm like, sorry, I have a badass photographer that's also my producer. Like, what do you want? Like, you jealous? Like, it ain't like I went and got glamour shots done,
Yeah.
but you're gonna call them glamour
But it's
shots.
busy taking the shots.
But if it's busy and he gets a dope picture of me smoking a cigar, in
That's
the lounge,
crazy. I
then
literally
I'm throwing
have
that up.
I have more pictures of you two professionally than I do of my own family.
See, that's the
That's
crazy.
crazy.
That's the shoemaker with the kids with the holes in the shoes.
Yeah.
Because, like, Thanksgiving, how many times did you bust your camera out?
My camera phone showing that beautiful ass turkey in my smoker, yes, but my camera, never.
Even
You're not working.
Even your camera phone taking photos of your family, you don't think about it.
Nah, because
So
you're too
that-
busy doing what you do.
Because it's one of those deals where and you know, the argument is, you know, you take care of your homeowners and you do all this. So like, for example, you know, back in the day when I was a PM, when the home is at 98%,
Yeah.
the last 2% is the hardest.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. Closing it out.
So you're
the punch list.
You're going. It's not just the punch list. It's the minute details in a custom home where I go through. Usually, it's post cleaning, post final clean, the powder puff clean. I'll go through, you know, no shoes on, socks, and I've just got a flathead screwdriver, unless they went with plates that cover the screws. And I'm going through and I'm making sure every screw is up and down. You know, just that little tiny detail, right? I don't want to do that shit at home.
Yeah.
Like I do that for a living.
Like when you were married, how many times did you get the like, I have to ask you X amount of times to get this fixed? And I know it's just a phone call for you, but it's like, I know how busy they are. I know how scheduled out I have them. I'm pulling them off to do my personal stuff. Like it's a pain in the ass.
I know he didn't want to do it because he's not going to charge me, which means he has to find free time. I already have him on 8 other jobs, so I got to fit him in when it's convenient. You know,
for him, which isn't going to be convenient for either of us.
No.
And you're at home, so it's going to be you dealing with it.
Correct.
And then I got to make it fit with your schedule as well.
Correct.
Which, I mean, it's a tough give and take on that
It
stuff.
really is.
And it's like I tell my guys all the time, because I don't want to ever be put in that situation with my guys, is I tell them, I want you to charge me cost. I want to pay your guy that's going to come out and do it, and I want to pay for the materials, and that way you do it and do it right.
Yep.
Just don't charge me the 10 and 10 on top. That's all I'm asking of my guys whenever they work on my house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to feel like I owe you anything or I'm committed to more with you, because these guys are so up and down, and that if more subcontractors had somebody to manage them, holy cow, these guys would make so much more money and do so much better and be able to take on so much more if half of them had the business acumen. I have a handful of really good ones, which I'm sure you do too, but there's a whole nother set that are really good. They're just terrible at scheduling and commitment and overcommitting, and that balance of keeping up with that stuff eats them alive. And then they're always like, well, I don't make enough money. I don't this and that. And it's like, you could. You just don't manage your stuff right. And if you would do it right the first time and not cut the corners that you're trying to cut to save up,
it wouldn't screw you in the
you
end.
wouldn't be doing this 2-3 times or making the extra 2 trips that you just made,
which is taking you away from another job site.
Yeah.
My I'll give a shout out. One of my oldest trades, he's been with me. Well, my framer's been with me since. Well, he was with my dad before I got into it since '03. My framer's been working with me and Dad, let's call it that, since 2003. 20 years. I mean, I've watched his kids grow up. He's known my daughter since she was born.
Wow.
And now his sons, you know, I mean, his kids are thriving and it's awesome. But I've literally watched his kids grow up and he's watched mine grow up. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
And
I just had to laugh because you're going to appreciate this. So my wife just chimed in.
Uh-oh.
She said the extent of our observance typically consists of Happy Hallmark Day on the dry erase board in the kitchen.
There you go.
That's literally how we communicate most of the time on stuff like that. Is
She's so gangster. Love his wife. She's so.
She is awesome. But so I'll go back to that tangent earlier, right? So this is what I was telling you earlier. When you were walking out the door to the...
Yeah, when we had our debate and we're going back and forth on Valentine's Day with Ty, because Ty's going home to cake. I hope you're listening to that.
He's cooking with Tammy.
He's caking.
Yeah. But, so, no offense to anybody watching that loves Valentine's Day, but here's my theory, which is, you know, it's weird when you dive into it. So, let's say the wife or the lady who loves Valentine's Day. She loves it, right? So let's dive into the psychological side of that real quick. And if I offend anybody, I'm sorry, but it is what it is.
We offend people on here all the time. So
Great. Fantastic.
Word.
Yeah. I'm the opposite of woke. So she expects her husband to do something amazing for her on Valentine's Day. Right? She expects it. He knows that she expects it. Therefore, he does it. Is it because she doesn't get enough affection, love, and attention the other 364 days that she really relies on this one day? And then if you dive deeper into it, she's getting it on a day that he's required to do it. Therefore, it's not because he wants to, it's because he freaking has to.
Yeah, there's no significance.
No. So it
wasn't a random thought of kindness.
No, so it just shatters the entire day. The whole day is fake.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
The whole
agree
day,
1,000%.
The whole day is crap. Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah and I agree on this like 100% across the board. And I grew up in a household when you gave me bad flashbacks earlier when you talked about parade of homes. Because when I was a little kid, when my parents were successful early on and my dad was vice president of a bank, my mom, when they bought their dream house in Oklahoma, she decorated the entire house for every holiday you can think of.
That's my mom.
And I mean every room. I'm talking even the bathroom.
Maybe not that much.
Every room had decorations, and these people would come through and tour and take pictures and stuff, and like, it was a whole ordeal.
Was your mom into Dickens Village for Christmas?
I have no idea what
the
that
little
is.
ceramic houses?
Oh, she had stuff like that. Yeah,
where
for sure.
Where they set up the whole snow village.
Oh yeah, snow village and all that stuff. Like that's why the one thing I won't do at the house is dust. I hate dusting.
Okay.
Because as a kid, every time it was your chore to go dust, you had to pick up all these knickknacks and shit and pick it up, move it off, clean whatever,
and then put it back.
Clean it, and then put it back in the right spot.
And clean the actual item.
And I'm so OCD that like everything has to go back in its spot.
Dude.
And I'd lose my mind having to dust like
my maid,
1 or 2 rooms.
All I want her to do is take a photo. Just take a photo. She picks,
I mean, it's so bad.
She picks everything.
And my wife doesn't think she's like this, but it's just like before our people come to clean our house every 3 weeks, you have to like pretty much go through and clean and take everything off and put it away. So that they clean everything and then you put it back where it actually goes and where you want it.
So I'm so OCD cleanliness wise, and it's just me in the apartment. Belle's off at college.
Yeah.
And so when she comes in to clean, like I brought her down to 1 month cleaning, right? Because it's basically the bathroom. That's it. I don't cook at home at all. I've used the oven never.
This guy orders more Chipotle than anybody y'all know. Like, I should buy stock just because I know this guy.
Bro, I have 16,000 Chipotle points.
You could feed a small village Chipotle for a year.
I started scrolling through the rewards biz. I can buy Chipotle gear with my points. Like, they have sliders and
it's like the Marlboro
and
man that our grandfathers were, except for Chipotle. Like, it's insane.
I do have like
that's
16,000. So she doesn't need to clean anything. It's kind of ridiculous, right? But she does still clean everything. But why can't you just take a simple photo and put the shit back where it was?
Right.
Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
I have to come back and just like kind of rearrange everything and just make it all nice and neat.
So let's dive off into something else here, because you and I could just talk and do this forever about work.
Sure.
What do you think has made you really successful at what you do?
Ooh, that's a question. I'm not successful at what I do.
I would disagree with that, but so maybe you don't think you are, but like, because and maybe this will help you answer this question. You're someone that does things that I'm trying to get back to doing. Like, I just sent Biz a text while I was on vacation in Hawaii, and I was like, man, I was thinking about things, and when I go back and look at when I was really productive and really successful in my mind of me personally, of getting things done in a day, a week, a month, was when my dad made me get into the Franklin Planner system. And I won't go into that in great detail because I've talked about it several times on the podcast.
Sure.
But I scheduled out my day. I had goals. I had things that I accomplished, struck off my list. And I had a very regimented schedule where I was, up at 5 a.m., at the gym, knocked out the gym because there's no excuses at 5 a.m. Work, life does not come up at 5 a.m. 98% of the time. Get that done, start my day, and I knock out my day. And I have more of a set regimen. you are one of the most regimented people I know by far. I mean, this guy, like I said, I mean, whether we're joking about you ordering Chipotle 5 days a week for dinner or wearing a black polo, jeans, and black boots, like almost like Zuckerberg, like you wear the same T-shirt every day. Dude, so that you don't have to make a decision.
I don't have to make a decision.
And
minimalists.
Yeah, like minimalist, but scheduled. I don't care what's going on up here. I can count on one hand in the 2 years that I've been here, no matter what the occasion is, what the day is, that you've been here past 9 p.m. I can probably count that on one hand. Mm-hmm. And you pay for it the next day, but you still go through your schedule as far as I know.
Yeah, I do.
And you're very regimented. I mean, like you're home at 9, you're in bed by 10, asleep, and you're up at probably 5 a.m. And
usually 5. Yeah.
You have a very regimented schedule. So to me, with the multiple companies that you are affiliated with and help run or are part of, as well as your personal life, family life, all of that, you are very regimented and successful at doing what you do. Whether you consider that successful,
sure,
whether we're talking financial or personally or
sure,
goals, that could all be debated, but that's more where I'm going with that. Like, do you contribute a lot of that and you being able to handle and take on running 2 different companies or 3 and, doing all that? What do you contribute that to? And what do you think makes you successful at doing that? Is it your schedule? Is it XYZ?
I would say, and this is personally the way my brain operates, I would say that this is just me, and whether you viewers want to take it for whatever you want to take it for, if you're wanting to learn some stuff about business, boredom is the killer.
Yeah.
Boredom is the killer. So if you dictate your day in regards to a particular schedule, you can dictate out boredom. And so, for example, with me, I was having a conversation with some guys up here at the lounge on Saturday night, actually. And I actually stayed up here later. I actually left at 11.
So I was not here for that, so I can't count that on my hand.
You can't count it on your hand.
He typically, I'm talking like whether this is an ICC event where we're up here closing down and it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
No,
I think the latest I've seen you is about 11.
That's about the latest.
11 is about the latest I've ever seen you, because like I even remember Adrian's birthday party. You were like, "Yeah, I'll meet you guys over there," and we're like,
"Nope,
he ain't coming.
I'm out."
I'll bet anybody the next round of drinks that he is not there.
Yeah,
nobody took my bet for the record.
Yeah, well, they all know. They all know that. I mean, if I haven't had dinner by, I'm gonna have a late dinner tonight, which is totally odd for me. Like super
pushing the limits.
Yeah, pushing the limits. But it's for me, it is scheduling your day out to be the most productive version of you. And for me, boredom is the worst, right? So the conversation we were having on Saturday night up here at the lounge was, I can't stand 4 p.m. 4 p.m. I don't like. So 4 p.m. is when, in my world of construction, energy stops. And I don't like that. I don't like when the energy stops. So I want problems. I want chaos. I want situations to be happening all the time. And when 4 p.m. hits, that's when my brain goes, okay. What do I need to do? Like I start searching for something to do, and I get bored, right? And boredom to me is quite possibly the worst thing on the planet.
I'm right there with you. I can't. COVID was terrible for me.
My mind has to.
When you told me I couldn't go or do, and I got to just sit here, and my wife's like, "You hate being at home." I'm like, "No, I don't hate being at home. It's not hate being at home.
It has nothing to do with that.
I hate being confined and told I can't do anything else, or, hey, I got to be active. I got to feel like I'm progressing my life or our life in some way.
So,
some way.
For example, this is not a testament to anything or whatever, but so for the, let's call it 13 years that I worked with my father,
Yeah.
like no, I would say no lie. Regardless, let's take away surgeries, because surgeries you can't equate for. Maybe 5 sick days. Maybe 5 sick days. Vacation is different. Take your wife on vacation, whatever. But maybe 5 sick days. And the days I was sick, I'm sitting at home getting pissed off that I'm not being productive, because it's you're sitting there, you feel bad, but you're bored at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense.
Like,
I relate to that so much. And even when you are sick, it's pure hell to sit there and
do nothing.
Do nothing or try and find something to entertain yourself on TV during the
sit
day.
there and scroll through Netflix. Like, it just drives me insane.
But yet it amazes me that you're just like my wife and my little brother, where you have this plethora of knowledge that is useful for Jeopardy and random ass conversation where you're like, he's got to be making this shit up. How the hell do you know that fact, that actor, that name, that producer, that screenwriter?
I told him.
And you guys just my brain does not work like that in that regard. Like, I can do song lyrics,
sure,
and I can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can roll with music. But these other random things, it's like someone will mention a car or something, and you're like, you will just be like, yeah, man, blah, 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 blah. Did you see that, it takes for, our conversation today, with KO. KO's getting a new car, and you're like, hey, so do you know the difference between this class and the Bentley? And you're like, just the dashboard alone takes 400 man hours to just do the wood dash in a Bentley. And
not to throw you off. So, did he decide on something else?
He's getting
it comes Saturday.
S-Class coupe on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, so I literally, I'm not joking. I talked this fool into it because it's been one of my favorite cars forever. And, he's a BMW guy.
Yeah, I tried to get him out.
Yeah, he is. And so we're talking about cars and this, that, and the other, and he shows me the S-Class coupe that he's potentially looking at.
My brother has one.
And they're just...
He has an S550 coupe.
S550 coupe, 4MATIC.
Yeah, that's... My brother has that. Matter of fact, somebody tried to break into it, and the windows in that car are double pane.
Double pane laminated. Yep.
But do not get them broken, because guess where they're made? The Ukraine.
Yeah.
So he hasn't had a replacement window.
Yeah.
So, but
is there a war going on over there?
There may be something holding up progression, but anyway, and it's a coupe. That's a hard car to find.
And it's a true hardtop. There's no B-pillar.
And he did it with Carvana.
He's bought his last 2 or 3 cars with Carvana.
I know, it just blows my mind that the KO shops at the vending machine of cars.
It is a actual vending. I know.
It is, but he comes out with some nice whips.
He for sure does.
His Alpina, until it blew up, was freaking amazing.
BMW.
Yeah. So
we still call it the Alpaca. Do not call it an Alpina.
So I had a conversation with a friend of mine earlier today that I was going on your podcast, and I was explaining what your podcast was and who you were and this, that, and the other. And I said very randomly, he looks at me and he's like, you're the human Google. Like, 'cause someone will ask some question in the lounge or whatever, and some random fact or something or whatever, and you look at me and go, Ryan, you know that answer. Like, you know that. Like, what's the answer, Ryan?
Yeah, you know what? I would love to give you that nickname, but one of my brother's friends already has that nickname. The difference between the two of you is like he uses it as a defense mechanism almost.
Okay.
Whereas you're straight up like you just said, where you're like, I'm trying to think of a movie and I'm like, Ryan, Denzel Washington,
Deja
he
vu.
goes back in the past and
Deja
solves
vu.
some, and you're like, deja vu, blah, 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 and so-and-so directed it, blah, blah, and we have 10 more conversations from that one thing. Like, that's where you get the Google effect going for you for sure. Wesley, I don't want to act like we did not hear that. I hope we answered your question about defining success. To me, success can be a lot of things.
We didn't get into my definition, actually.
Yeah,
so,
we weren't like actually defining. I mean, we didn't get into your definition of success, but I hope with the way I clarified further my question to him, elaborated on what I was trying to, get Ryan to tell us about himself, because that's a lesson I think is very important. It's something I want to talk about with more guests, is what they do in a day or a week or a month. Because when you look at, I mean, go back and look at anybody I've had on this show, to me, every one of them has been successful in more than one category. And that's kind of what I gauge success on, is like, you can't just be successful at one thing. Like, that's not interesting.
No.
And that's not, I mean, if you're only successful at your job, you know, that's monetarily or just satisfaction of killing time in your day. If you're not successful with your family, your friends, your pursuit of happiness, your hobbies, there's so many things to me that define success.
So we define
success in individual things.
So I'll give you my definition.
Yeah, go for it.
So Wesley, I apologize. I kind of got off on a tangent. So my definition of success is, which we had this conversation on Saturday night. My definition of success is wealth. And wealth to me is peace, love, and happiness. Because money will come, okay? Money's the easy part. Money is the thing that happens after the fact. You can never define wealth with money, because money comes and goes. You can be rich, and they you know that term where they say rich versus wealthy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think rich versus wealthy is, you could be the Wall Street guy that works 90 hours a week, that never sees his wife, never sees his kids, and makes $1 million a year, and he's freaking miserable.
Absolutely.
That is not wealth to me.
No.
At all, period. Wealth comes from peace, love, and happiness within your own personal self and your home life, right?
Yep.
Business success in business comes from you having peace, love, happiness, wealth within yourself and your home life to be able to be successful in business.
I agree. I think I've furthered that a little bit recently in what I've been writing and thinking about. I want wealth of time.
Well, that's the other
Wealth of time, to me.
Time.
If you can have success, then that means you can have success with your time, and time being in who you give your time to, what you give your time to, and doing enough in any of those areas to allot more time for peace, love, happiness, and those things. Because if you're doing those things, you inevitably start gaining more time in those areas, which to me makes you more productive, happier,
more successful at your business.
At everything. So managing your time, and that's why that's one of those things I said earlier I want to bring up with guests more often, is talking about how they manage their time. Because to me, there's nothing more valuable or more important than your time.
No.
Who you give your time to, who you let steal your time, what you let steal your time, whether that's smoking a cigar is taking a year off my life, you know, like whatever it is, it's either giving or taking time from you. So managing time is something I'm going to focus more on this year, and talking about that with my guests, because every guest, I mean, even before I left for vacation, when Ken Hamlin was on here, I asked him a lot of questions about, I mean, Ken Hamlin, like, that dude still looks like he's in playing shape.
Oh,
and it's
time.
like, Mr. GQ, he looks great no matter where he's at. He's happy in his body, his self, what he's doing, what he's devoting his time to. And I asked him some about like working out and how he fits in. So people gain like, well, what do you do when you're on the road? What about when you're broadcasting? What about when you're doing this? Or what about when cigar time? You know, how do you fit this into your life and whatnot? So hopefully people were able to learn some of that. But I want to take that a little further as we continue this podcast, because I just think that is such a crucial element of how people look at their day, their week. And you just, I've started seeing patterns more and more again of stuff that I saw when I was doing these Franklin Planner things with my dad and the training he was doing and teaching and all these books. People get complacent and there's not consistency, because if you're just consistent with your simple stuff, simple things in your life, you create an abundance of extra time because you're executing on a very simplistic level, and you don't get blindsided by the minutia of what the world puts in your day.
So the
social media, the news, your friends, phone calls, emails, work, home life, friends, all that, if you don't manage that well on a simplistic level, you leave yourself no time to grow, learn, or adapt or move forward with a lot of things. And you see people get stuck in this rut. And I had that thought. And like I said, I had some notes I put in my phone, and I literally screenshot the biz, and I was like, yo, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm thinking right now. And he was like, yes, we need to talk about that. We need to do that. I know I could use that in my life, and let's go down that road. So I think that's really important.
It's super important. I would say, in regards to my regimented schedule, which is not perfect. Some days it's 4:50 in the morning. Some days it's 5:20. Some days it's 5:15, 5:05. I usually, if I set my alarm for 5:10, and generally I work on a 7-hour schedule.
Yeah.
So if I go to bed by 10, I set my alarm for 5.
Yeah.
Right? That's just the way it works. And as of right now, I think I might transition to a 6-hour schedule and see how that works.
Yeah.
And see how my body reacts to it, because you need to find your sweet spot. So finding your sweet spot on a sleep schedule is one of the most important things to me to make yourself more productive the next day. And it's not like I would say. So now we're just talking about success, right? Now we're just let's dive down that road that you were just talking about. It's go to bed at the same time. Do the same regiment when you go to bed. Turn your damn phone off. Get off Instagram. Get off Facebook. Which I'm not preaching to the choir here, because I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll scroll while I'm laying in bed,
Yeah.
which is not good. It clouds your mind, right? Put your phone down an hour before you go to bed and start thinking about what you need to do the next day.
Right.
Get it on your mind.
Is that right? I have to get back into writing. So take it off my brain on paper. It's done. It's accomplished.
Do you put it on your nightstand? That's a big deal.
I used to. I'm trying to get back into that. Like right now, I'm personally having sleep hell. And I apologize for everybody that I work with right now, because in the traveling that I have done, going forward in time, I can adapt to really easy. This last trip to Hawaii, where I went to see my little brother, and I went back 4 hours.
Yeah.
So when it was 7 o'clock at night, it was 11 o'clock in my body. And I'm usually a person that is asleep no later than 10:30, and I'm usually up around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
That 2 weeks of going back 4 hours has screwed me up royally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got home last Thursday. It's now Tuesday of the following week. The last 3 nights, I've gotten 3, maybe 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in bed at 10 o'clock. I'm in bed at 8, 9. We watch a show or two. I start trying to go to sleep, and man, it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm back up at 5 a.m.
Wake right up, yeah.
And it's hell. And then I try to sleep for another hour. Doesn't happen.
Which
By
is
the time I get up,
worst
and
sleep
it's
ever.
like I'm getting 3, 4 hours sleep, and it's literally driving me insane. Like I literally told my wife this morning that if I don't get a good night's sleep tonight, tomorrow night, I am going to be in bed by 8 o'clock. I am taking
something
like NyQuil PM, Advil PM, something to hopefully reset my body clock, because the other problem with this time of year is sunlight actually will help you a lot. But if I try to go to bed and get up at 5 a.m., there is no sunlight still because of the time of year it is. And I am stuck in this time hell right now.
So personally use I did a lot of research on lumens for waking up. So change your light bulbs out. Like, for example, when I
Oh, Sarah's gonna kill you for saying change my light bulbs out. Like, and we don't wake up at the same time. For the record, we have completely different schedules.
Okay.
Where she's a night person, I'm a morning person.
okay,
So
so I'm morning. So,
Yeah.
for example, I love the tangents. So I got another thing to say about my morning routine,
Yeah.
which I'll get into.
go for it.
But get into a scenario where they call it sundown, right? So you want to get your circadian rhythm in the mood to go to bed. So when the sun sets, turn off all lights that are overhead completely.
Yeah.
Because it changes your brain, right? Farmers figured out how to make chickens lay eggs 24 hours a day. So they blast them with 10,000 lumens in each one of their bays, right? So the actual chickens think, this is one of those random facts again, the actual chickens,
Google.
the chickens think that it's daytime. So they can get them to lay eggs for many more hours than the normal day schedule. So when you wake up in the morning, go to your bathroom, change all your light bulbs out, whatever you need to do, get some LED lights, get 10,000 lumens of light. They actually have wake up panels. There's a panel that you can buy, you can put in your bathroom.
Ryan will custom install these in your house.
And
if
I
you
will.
need them.
Yeah, hit me up. So hit yourself with 10,000 lumens of light in the morning to actually wake your brain up in regards to sunlight. At night, turn off your overhead lights, turn on nothing but lamp lights, and let your circadian rhythm realize that it's nighttime.
Oh, bro, I sleep with a damn mask on.
Oh, you're such a woman.
I know. Well, my wife stays up and watches TV and stuff, so like I had to adapt so that
Could get dark.
we would get on a similar schedule, and I've actually gotten her more adapted to my schedule.
Okay.
But I legit, I have to sleep with a mask on because I can't have the flicking, flashing light from the TV in the background.
I struggle with this because I've tried this. I have my Apple thing set to say, hey, you got 15 minutes time to go to bed. So
Wind down.
I used to
15
be a
minutes is not enough time to wind
vampire.
down first.
I never went to bed till 2 or 3 in the morning because my kids are running around and I can't get work done until the house goes to sleep. Then that's when I kick in. But then I got to be up at 7. So I said, fine. I'm going to sleep at 11, knocked out. I wake up at 6:30. But the problem is I got my body into that rhythm. But on the weekends when I got a DJ,
You're up.
man, 11 o'clock, I'm yawning and I'm like suffering and I'm like, we're partying and Ryan's passing me drinks and it's just.
I did not
So it's
do
like,
that.
no, he doesn't do it. No, that's Aaron Klaus.
Aaron
that
Klaus,
does-
yeah.
Yeah. But that's the struggle. So it's like my body's actually adapted to Friday and Saturday up. But then by 10 o'clock on the weekdays, I'm yawning.
Yeah.
So the 5 in the morning thing, that is my next challenge. I really want to see what happens if I just get up 2 hours earlier.
So
And Donna, I completely agree with you. You're putting some great comments in here. I wish I could get to all of these, but people are blowing this up right now. But yeah, prioritizing and putting mindless stuff on in the background. I mean, that works for some people. Me personally, I have to get back into writing more at night because I have to get it off my head.
Okay.
Because otherwise, I will sit there and think about all
Bees
the shit
in the coffee
I want to
can.
do, need to do, should do, could do, whatnot. Like for me, that has to happen at night. Whether it's like I carry this thing with me everywhere. Like 15 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. But to get that off my brain and go on with life.
Yeah.
I have to do something like that. But now it's like, even when I do that to a certain extent right now, and it's purely from this 2-week vacation, because I normally do not have this problem at all. It's been a running joke in my family. Like, you tell me I have 5 minutes to nap, I'm going to nap for 4.5 minutes. Like,
Sure.
I mean, like I can go to sleep. Like,
Yeah.
But when I get in one of these little ruts, it is absolute hell.
So the 5 a.m. thing, Biz, waking up at 5 a.m. Mm-hmm. So wake up, take my SECUR.
We'll talk about that here
we're about to
shortly.
drop that in just a
We'll
second.
talk about that here in a minute. I do 5 to 6 with nothing but, whether it's motivational Instagram reels that I follow, most of it's like either self-help, financial help, or business help. And I go through that. We had this conversation
Yep,
the other
yep,
night.
yep.
Yeah.
That's, go for it.
So 1 hour, I'll sit there and I'll digest as much information as humanly possible, and I'll save whatever ones I like the most, so I can go back and visit them, right? Because it's very fast data, right? So you're ingesting data that is just super fast, because these reels aren't very long and you're scrolling through, right? So I save the ones that I like so I can go back, reference them, write them down, digest them fully. So that's what I do from 5 to 6. 6 hits. From 6 to 7, fix another cup of coffee, and then I start work emails. I'll go through all the emails that I either didn't get the day before, or start going through creating the emails. And I always set up an email so I don't start my workday till 8 a.m. because I don't want people contacting me before 8 a.m. So I don't ever contact them before 8 a.m. So I set an email up and I set a timer on it, and it fires off at 8 a.m., right? But that time frame from 5 to 8, which, I'm post 2 back surgery, so I haven't gotten back into a workout routine yet, because it scares the shit out of me.
Right.
But that 5 to 8 p.m. is when the world is not bothering me. That's when I can focus on me and my business and doing what I need to do.
5 to 8 a.m.?
5 to 8.
You said p.m. I want to make sure we're clear.
8 a.m. 5 to 8 a.m.
8 a.m., okay.
Yeah, so post 7 a.m. is when I get in the shower. Do my thing, get ready, and I go about my day, right? But that window is when nobody's bothering me, nobody's emailing me, nobody's calling me, nobody's texting me, and I can just focus on me and what I need to do to get ready for my day. That's my routine. So, was his name William or Will? What was his name?
Which one? We had Donna.
The success guy?
Oh, no, it's Wesley.
Oh,
Wesley. Sorry. So Wesley, that is my operation in the morning to create myself to be the most successful version of myself for the day. That's my routine, and I do stick with I do pick the black. I got 20 of these, and I know I'm wearing jeans, boots, and a black polo. That's just because I don't want to think about that crap. I don't want to worry about what I'm wearing, It's just the easiest part about my day is I don't want to worry about what I'm wearing. Like,
So you mentioned that you take your SECUR when you wake up.
Yeah, drop that, Biz.
What is that?
okay, we're
Drop
going
that,
to drop
So,
that.
while you talk about it, I'm going to go ahead and I got to do something different today.
Yeah, you do.
Biz
So go ahead,
got
talk about
fancy on us while we were out for the break.
Yeah.
You guys will hopefully see a lot more of this kind of stuff. This is one of the things we're trying to change up as we start getting some show sponsors, and you will see a few little advertisements of this. But trust that when you're seeing one of these things like this, that it's something that I would take myself, or that I personally feel is a good product. Like I'm not going to just, someone wants to advertise, like that's fine, but I'm not going to take on any and all advertisements either, because as you guys know, I mean, it's called common sense. So there has to be a common sense element to this, and people have to believe that there is some common sense behind it. And, anything you see on this show or that would be on here is going to fall in those guidelines. I can tell you that right now.
Okay, so I'll play on the common sense factor. All right. So the common sense factor.
Well, tell everybody a little bit about SECUR first, because
that's what I'm about to do.
Yeah,
that's what I'm about to do. So SECUR is a company that was founded back in 2019, and SECUR is based on it's a proprietary blend of a water concentrate that you would add to your water and drink on an empty stomach. Whether it was as I do it myself in the morning, it's 1 ounce that you would add of the water concentrate to your water and drink on an empty stomach. And then I usually do one in the morning and one in the evening. And the common sense factor of what I'm going to tell y'all is everything that we do throughout our day, whether it's working out, whether it's stress, whether it's smoking a cigar, whether it's drinking alcohol, or drinking work, or drinking a soda. Everything that you do throughout your day, even if you're the most healthy person on the planet and you run marathons all day long, you create inflammation within your body. SECUR the concentrated liquid is the only product on the planet that is solely designed, all natural, to seek out and destroy acid in your body that causes inflammation. It's the only one on the planet. So all it does is find the acid in your body. It's a particular acid.
Nerd out on this a little bit. I think they need it.
You want me to nerd out? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
nerd out on it a little bit.
So the acid that I'm referring to is hydronium. Hydronium is H3O. So we all know H2O, which is water. Okay, that's 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen, right?
Yep.
Hydronium is H3O, so it's 3 hydrogens. Pretty simple. Our product is H1O. Okay, so it's 1 minus of what water is, right?
Yep.
That's not the true chemical makeup. That's a good name for it, and I won't give the actual chemical name for it. But this product literally is trying to seek out an extra hydrogen ion to create what it needs to be, which is water.
To flush it from your system.
That's all it wants to do. It wants to find extra hydrogen ions, take that hydrogen ion, pull it from the hydronium, turn itself into water, and turn the acid back into water. So not only are you hydrating yourself from the inside, creating more water, but you're removing the acid from your body that causes so many ailments within your body.
Right.
And the byproduct of my product, the side effect, if you will, is you urinate more.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Literally, that's it. And the benefits of our product for what it does for you.
And there's 2 for the record.
There is 2.
There's the liquid you take
Yep.
and the gel. There's the topical gel that you can put on, and I'll let you dig into that more.
Yeah. So as Garrett said, we decided we took the liquid concentrate that is so great for the internal body. We decided to turn it into something that would work for the biggest organ on your body, which is your skin. So we turned it into a gel, and the benefits of the gel are off the charts. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it, and whether the FDA likes it or not, acne is huge in regards to helping acne.
Bug bites, I think you told
Bug bites,
me.
mosquito bites, burns,
it's
Shaving.
And they use
Shaving
an
bumps,
aloe,
razor bumps.
They use
Razor
an
bump.
aloe to be the transmitter.
Yeah, so it's,
Right.
it's aloe-based, so it penetrates the dermis deeper, and it pulls out the inflammation that's in your skin. So when you get a bug bite, you're getting the actual chemical reaction from the mosquito bite on your skin. Well, that's an inflammation reaction to the chemical. Well, our product pulls the inflammation reaction out and takes the itch and the redness and the bump gone within seconds.
I think I'm just going to try to throw some of these out there real quickly. Like, you've had people being tested or that have just done this on their own that have used this for acne, bug bites,
Yes.
hemorrhoids,
Yes.
allergens
Within the nostrils.
within
Yes.
the nostrils, shingles.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of some more here.
Sunburn.
But like sunburn. Yeah, I mean, any that you want to add in there. So it's a lot of different things that you can use this topical for.
I use it every day. So let's say, for example,
And you've had, not to go too deep here, but you're someone that's had, like, my wife's had neck surgery. You've had multiple back surgeries.
Correct. Yep.
And have used this product to help you in recovery and everything else as well. So
you can actually put it on the topical. The internal you want to use because it goes way deeper.
right.
The topical, you can actually use it as a topical joint pain. You know how CBD's gotten so popular?
Yeah.
You know, the gels
Right.
and the roll-ons and all that stuff. This goes just as deep into the system and removes the inflammation within the skin and the ligaments and everything to actually help joint pain, back pain, that type of suffering, in conjunction with the internal product, the water concentrate, that helps with rheumatoid arthritis, which helps with, I mean, you name it. It's gout. It's unbelievable. I have.
You even said pets too. Now you just said that. You remind me of pets. Like, you can put it in their water.
You put it in the water.
Or like your dog's licking his paws all the time and he's got the red inflammation.
He's got the
in his
red.
paws.
Yes.
like
from his allergens. Because,
gel easily, and it's alloy, so it's not anything that if they sit there and lick it after you put it on,
it's perfectly fine.
It's penetrating and already doing its thing.
Correct. Yeah. It is. I mean, shoot. I don't know. I can't speak highly enough about it because if I went into all the, I mean, as Busy knows, I've gone into so many testimonials from people that have taken the product.
Right.
And it's just over and over and over again with testimonials of, you know, I've had rheumatoid arthritis for my entire life. Okay. This is just one, for example. It's a buddy of mine. His sister has rheumatoid arthritis. She's been on her meds for over 25 years.
Right.
She is no longer on any meds.
That's amazing.
At all.
And that's one of those things, too, I want to point this out. And I encourage you guys, I think Biz already dropped the link, so you can go see the videos, the founders, and why they started searching this out. And I want you to talk about that in a minute. But go look at this. And this is a product I truly think you guys are going to hear a whole lot more about and will hit the market a lot harder. This literally launched and was like really coming out right as COVID happened.
Right
so
as COVID hit.
I won't get into all the details about how bad that sucked for you and the people involved in this, but this is one of those things that's kind of been put on the back shelf, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, like, not completely, but I mean, it's been back shelved a little bit just because of the logistics and things with COVID. Like, they couldn't even get bottles to put the stuff in to sell it to you if you wanted to buy it. So there's a whole lot more to this. I had to have a conversation with Ryan for a while just to get more information about it because there's not a whole lot out there about it yet. There is a lot of information on it. It's just the delivery of it, and it was a lot of the timing involved here. Really affected a lot of this. And I would really, I'm trying to remember the exact wording almost that you used, but the way this product came about and how you guys went about developing this product, tell that story a little bit, because I think that's really important, and I think a lot of people will relate to that because it involves cancer and kind of going down that road. So
okay, so we don't use the C word.
All right, fine. Well, don't use the C word.
We don't use the C word. So the development. So a best friend of mine that I've known for many, many years. His boss at the time was having some treatment done in California, and the treatment that he was on in California, he called his boss and he said, "How's things going? This, that, and the other." And his boss was like, "Well, I'm doing good. I'm doing the treatment, and I am taking this water concentrate every day. They just make me put it in my water, and I drink it every day."
Right.
Okay. There are certain things that you might need to get treatment for that survive in an acidic environment. Okay?
Right.
Well, if you remove the acid, that particular thing may not survive. Hence the reason why this was created.
Got you.
So we got in touch with the actual chemist who's on our team that created this product, and we now own the IP for the formula of the product, and we're trying to figure out how to bring it to the masses, because there is what this was developed for and why it was developed and all the benefits that it does give you for all the different things.
It's not inclusive.
It's not inclusive at all. But from children to your grandparents to dogs to horses, we have a nurse, actually she's a vet in Pennsylvania, and she breeds thoroughbreds and all sorts of other horses, and she's huge in the horse community. She uses our gel on injuries to their horses because it makes the injury go away and heal so much faster. So the benefits of the product are so big and so vast that I told my friend at the time, I said, we have to figure out a way to get this to the masses. We have to. It's that big. And he's like, okay, well, let's figure it out. Let's do something. You know, what do we need to do? And he had ideas, and I had ideas, and his ideas were wonderful. And so we rolled with them, and we developed a company to get this out to the public, because it was only concentrated in this one particular facility to combat this one particular ailment. But the benefits of it are so much bigger than that one particular ailment.
Yeah. And you're not saying it's a cure-all or whatever, or anything like that. Like we're not saying that, but let's use something that I know you and I talked about this previously, and maybe this is a good thing. So there is this fad that you see in water of having a certain pH alkaline water.
Alkaline water.
So to me, you're just putting a certain balanced water in it, but that doesn't necessarily get rid of. You're adding more balanced water to your system, but you're not getting rid of any of the quote unquote inflammation.
Correct.
So that's where this product really comes in and changes the game, because it's going into your body and attaching itself to that third hydrogen molecule and putting it out as H2O. So you're actually, versus just watering down your system, is that a good analogy?
Not necessarily.
You're now, instead of just watering it down, you're eliminating that extra hydrogen and flushing it out as water, along with whether you were drinking pH water or not.
So let's say let's say you're exactly right. Let's say you're drinking pH water on a regular basis, which is great. Everybody should. The pH water that you drink, this is the biggest difference in the world of, let's call it waters and FDAs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's one particular brand that starts with an E that has a very, very good following. It's one of the most popular pH balanced waters you can buy.
Right.
Okay. And they rep 9.5 pH, right? Well, the FDA says that you have to be at 9.5 at the point it's bottled. By the time it hits the shelf and you buy it, it's back down to 7.3. Okay, so our bodies regulate ourselves at 7.3 something. If you go one up or one down, 8.3 or 6.3, you're dead. Like, your entire body is doing everything that it possibly can do to regulate your pH balance within your blood. The whole body. Okay, that's all it is. Your body just regulates pH. So everything else can function the way it needs to function. So when you get a roadblock, and we call them roadblocks, my business partner came up with this term, which is fantastic. When you get a roadblock within your body, an ailment, okay, an injury or something else, whether it's
inflammation.
Well, yes,
anything.
Yeah, anything. Your body has to fight so much harder to get rid of that, to control that acidic environment, right?
Yep.
Where other things can then suffer. Well, if you're driving down the tollway, we all know the tollway. If you're from North Dallas and you're in the tollway area and it's 5 o'clock, traffic's horrible, okay? What's easier than traffic? No traffic, okay? The traffic flows freely at 70 miles an hour. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, your body functions that same way. If you get traffic in your body, which is in the form of, let's call it inflammation. Okay. Things back up, things slow down, and things don't function well. This product gets rid of the roadblock. It gets rid of that problem. It gets rid of that construction to make sure everything else can function perfectly. And that's basically what it does. pH balanced water gives you a buffer. It gives you a nice buffer against the acidic environment that you're introducing. Because we're all, let's say this was a Coca-Cola. Sorry, Coke. But you're pretty acidic. And we drink these things, right? Well, that pH balanced water that you're drinking gives you a buffer against the acid that you're introducing into your body, right? On a regular basis. Well, our product takes that acid and just says, all right.
Helps you get rid of it faster.
We're done with you. We're going to turn it into water and flush it out.
Yeah.
We're going to get rid of it completely.
That's awesome. All right, well, we're getting towards the end of the show. I can already tell. I think y'all are going to want me to have Ryan on again.
Has it already been an hour?
Man, it's already been an hour and 40 minutes.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, it goes really fast.
It goes really fast.
I know, like you don't even realize it. That's what I said. That's what I love about a podcast. Like you just sit here and we're just having conversations.
I can do another hour. Let's go.
We would just be sitting out there doing this anyways, and that's what I love about this, and that we get to do this.
Yeah.
So we're definitely gonna have to book you on, and we'll definitely do another show. Because I want to do that too, just because you're the first sponsor of the show, and I really appreciate that.
Course,
like,
man. Always.
I mean, you've been supportive of everything I've done since I've met you, and that's one of the reasons we've become really good friends.
Absolutely.
But so now I got to hit you with a few things.
Hit me.
So we do this on every show.
Okay.
And I feel like Ryan probably hasn't watched the show very much, so we're going to be able to actually get some like typical things out of him on this that'll be genuine and right off the cuff.
Okay.
Not that he doesn't give that to us anyways. But, so, at the end of every show, there's a couple things we do with our guests. And every single guest, this is like my favorite part because I feel like everybody gets these great nuggets out of these one or two questions. So the first question, and this will kind of prepare. So for those of you that don't know, Bella's boyfriend's coming to the lounge tomorrow. And we get to
4 p.m.
We get
Wait, hold on. I didn't know.
Busy.
Yeah,
Be
4
here.
p.m. tomorrow.
Be here tomorrow.
Trust me. I will watch Bad Boys 2.
Yeah,
And that's
Make
what
sure-
we're doing.
that's what we're
Bruh.
doing. He's coming to the Lions Den.
So he's here from 4 to 6:30.
Okay.
So if you can make it in that time.
Oh, I will be here.
Yeah. So you have to be here. This is also.
I don't even know if I plan to participate. I just plan on sitting back and watching this.
Garrett, this is my first time meeting him.
I know. I'm so excited
and
about this.
She told him about me, and I smoke cigars and this, that, and the other, and he was like, I want to smoke a cigar and meet your dad. Like, I want to do that. And I'm like,
She forgot to mention the insane uncles
No.
that she
Yeah.
has.
no. So, no.
Nope.
So
Poor kid.
she
Poor
came,
kid.
She came up here, before we went and had dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and then she came up here after dinner with me, and she's sitting with everybody, and Ty and Lee and everybody's talking to her, and Andrew and all these guys are talking to her, and we all told her, you've got 25 uncles in this cigar lounge that will demolish him if he makes
it's gonna be fun.
a wrong comment. Oh, it's going to be Bad Boys 2.
It's gonna
all
be
day
fun.
long.
So the first
I
thing
don't know how such a sweet girl is his offspring. I mean, because I've met her like 3 times now.
First thing I'm going to
but-
do is ask him for his driver's license.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a picture of it, and I'm just going to tell him, I know where you stay.
I know you
Yeah.
stay.
That's it. I won't even say nothing else. Then y'all can do whatever. That's all I need.
Mark Rogers, he goes, I can't be here at 4. And I go, well, can you come at all? He's going to be here till 6:30. He's like, okay, good. I got a meeting at 3:30. It's going to last till whenever, and then I'll be up here. And Mark Rogers goes, okay, wherever he's sitting, I'm going to walk in and just look at him and go, you're in my seat. And just and then just stare at him.
You know what would be
and
better
When he, and when he looks at me, I'm like, sorry, dog, you're in his seat.
If that was Jay Scott, that would be even better. Like,
Oh,
my
yeah.
God. Like,
Oh, yeah.
God.
Jay Scott ducking under the door, coming in. You in my seat,
You're in
dog.
my seat, dog. Get out.
Ooh.
A 6'7" Pittsburgh Steeler defense. Oh my
Super Bowl winning
He probably
lineman.
passed away right there.
Yeah. You ain't seen boys that big in Arkansas.
No.
Nope.
All right, so what's the
All
questions?
right, so here's the questions. If you had one piece of advice you could leave Bella, what would that piece of advice be?
Whoa. One piece of advice.
You only get one. Like
Only one.
Your time is up tomorrow. Ryan is no more. You get to leave her with one piece of advice, like your dying wish, your dying last words of wisdom, last words of advice.
Don't settle. Marry your soulmate.
Word.
That was quick.
Word. That's right.
All right. I know that was real quick.
Ryan, one hit
figured he was
quitter.
gonna take a minute on that. All right. Second question, and this is where we'll end it. We ask everybody, and this can be something that is just on your mind that you've been wanting to say. It can be something you feel inspired to say that you haven't got to say yet on this show. It could just be something you just want to throw out there. It could be the first thing that comes to your mind. It really doesn't matter. But if you were going to leave this show just giving us your 2 cents, What are your 2 cents on life, whatever, right now?
Right now.
Right now. It's 2 cents on whatever.
Figure out your peace, love, and happiness at home. Figure it out. Whatever your peace, love, and happiness is, figure that out. Everything else will be easier. That's it. Peace, love, and happiness at home. That is true wealth.
You kind of sound like a hippie.
No,
But it
because-
works.
But it works.
It works because that is.
It works. Peace,
This
love, and
man has
happiness.
I
given
just
me
felt
this
like I haven't
advice
busted
for the
his
last
balls
3-4 years. Trust me, it works.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I just felt like I haven't got busted. I figured Brian and I are going to be chopping up and busting on it
Also,
way
we didn't
more.
bust on each other at all.
I know. Like, we're going to have to we have a goal for next podcast now.
All right, here's the other
And we're
thing.
just going to play Dirty Dozens and chop it up a lot more.
Yeah, here's the other thing. Biz, this relates to you. Okay?
Uh-oh.
Here it is. The last thing I'll say in regards to that question you just asked.
Yep.
Know your worth.
All good advice. I mean, I don't think anybody can argue with anything the man said. So,
Can I give you one last one and we'll go?
yeah, man, go.
Here's the other thing. Here's another Ryanism. You already know what I'm going to say. Stop talking and just do it.
Just do it. Stop talking.
Shut up, execute.
Shut up and do it.
I mean, I think that's great advice. I mean, that's something I always try to do. If I put something out there, I'm not putting it out there just to put it out there. Like, I mean, I'm going to do it. Like, I mean, it's like we talked about this when I first, I posted a list. I'll probably post it on Facebook soon, but I posted a list with some of my friends when I first started this podcast because I got asked early on a bunch. What are some of your goals with the podcast, or who do you want to have on your podcast? And man, I just started rattling off some names, like Joe Rogan, Marcus Aubrey, or Aubrey Marcus, Tim Ferriss, Post Malone, whoever I want to sit down and have a genuine conversation with that I think everybody else would gain knowledge or something from
Ryan Hensley.
listening to that conversation, just a general conversation over a cigar, some alcohol, and just have conversation, because more conversation need to be had, and all this bullshit just news and
that's round
flash
two. That's
flash
round,
stuff. So yeah,
that's round two.
We'll
That's
hit that in
round
round two. We'll hit that in round
Yeah.
two, and we'll do that for sure. But man, I want to personally thank you for coming on here.
Yep, it was
and
fun.
doing this, man.
awesome.
Like, yeah, I had a great time doing this with you, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry you had another little 2-week delay. I'm not going anywhere for a while, so you guys, every Tuesday, this is what you're getting. We're gonna rock and roll. So
Nice. Thank y'all.
check out SECUR, and check out First Calibre Remodeling, even though he spells it completely wrong.
Spells
but,
it Calibre, but it's the
Yeah,
same.
it's Calibre.
Hey,
if you're like Googling it, just so you know, I wanted to call it Calibre all day just
Oh
to
my
mess with him,
gosh.
but yeah, because I know it would drive him nuts because he's really simplistic. But hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks for tuning in, and until next Tuesday, we'll see you then.
Peace.